The Empire's first battle with humans ended in a sudden retreat. Part 1. The stars looked cold and distant from the bridge of the USS Defiant. Admiral William Carter stood with his hands behind his back, watching the main screen. His gray hair was cut short, and his blue uniform fit perfectly. He had been in space for 30 years, but this was different. Today they would meet aliens for the first time. "Sir, we have 5 unknown ships coming our way," said Susan Miller. She was the ship's sensor officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen as she worked. Carter nodded. "How far away are they?" "About 20 minutes at their current speed," Susan said. "They are moving fast." The bridge was quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. For years, humans had found signs of alien life on distant planets. They had seen ruins, old messages, and strange technology, but they had never met living aliens face to face. Earth's leaders had worried this day would come. They had built ships like the Defiant just in case the aliens were not friendly. "Send a message to Earth," Carter told Alan Ross, his communications officer. "Tell them we have made first contact." Alan nodded and sent the message. It would take 8 minutes to reach Earth, even at the speed of light. Carter looked around the bridge. His crew was the best Earth had to offer. They had trained for years for this moment. Next to him stood his first officer, Jack Wilson. Jack was young but smart. He had dark skin and serious eyes. "What do you think they want?" Jack asked quietly. Carter shook his head. "I don't know, but we should be ready for anything." On the other side of space, Fleet Commander Krazathul stood on his own bridge. He was tall with gray skin and 4 eyes. His ship was 5 times bigger than the Defiant. Around him, other Xanthari officers worked at their stations. They had done this many times before. "These humans are new to space," Krazathul said to his second-in-command. "Our spies say they only learned to travel faster than light in the last 100 years. "Yes, Commander," said his officer. "They have only 8 warships in this area. We have 5, but ours are much stronger." Krazathul smiled, showing his sharp teeth. The Xanthari Empire had conquered 50 alien races in the last 1,000 years. Humans would be the 51st. "Send them the usual message," he ordered. "Tell them to surrender now or face our weapons." Back on the Defiant, Alan Ross suddenly sat up straight. "Admiral, we are getting a message from the alien ships." Carter turned. "What does it say?" Alan listened to his earpiece. "It's being sent on many channels. Our computers are translating it now." He paused. "Sir, they are demanding that we surrender Earth to them." The bridge went silent. Carter took a deep breath. "Send a message back," he said. "Tell them that Earth does not surrender." "Yes, sir," Alan said. He sent the message. Carter turned to his weapons officer, Frank Lee. "Are our weapons ready?" Frank nodded. "Yes, sir. All systems are green." Carter touched a button on his chair. His voice would now be heard on all 8 human ships in the area. "This is Admiral Carter. We have made first contact with an alien race. They have asked us to surrender. I have refused. Prepare for battle. Remember your training. Remember what we are fighting for, not just for Earth, but for all humans everywhere." As he spoke, the bridge crew moved quickly to their battle stations. Screens changed to show weapon status and shield power. Jack looked at the main screen. "The alien ships are speeding up. They will be in weapons range in 5 minutes. Carter nodded. All ships form Defense Pattern Alpha. The 8 human ships moved into a new formation. They made a half circle, with each ship protecting the others on D. The Xanthari command ship, Krazathul, watched the humans with interest. "They refuse to surrender," said his communications officer. "Of course they do," Krazathul replied. "They all refuse at first, but they will change their minds when they see our power." He turned to his weapons officer. "Fire a warning shot. Hit their smallest ship." Green energy shot out from the Xanthari ship. It crossed space and hit the USS Brave, the smallest human ship. But something strange happened. The green energy seemed to fade as it hit the human ship's shields. "What happened?" Krazathul demanded. "Why is that ship still there?" His weapons officer looked confused. I don't understand, Commander. Our sensors show the shot hit them, but their shields are still at full power. Krazathul frowned. This was not normal. Usually their weapons cut through enemy shields like they weren't even there. Fire again. Full power this time. Target their main ship. On the Defiant, Susan Miller watched her screen closely. Sir, they are charging weapons again. It looks much stronger this time. Carter nodded. All ships, full power to shields. The green energy shot out again, bigger and brighter this time. It hit the Defiant directly. The ship shook, but not as much as Carter had expected. Shield status? He asked. Shields at 92%, reported Linda Garcia from the engineering station. The new shield design is working. It's learning from each hit just like we hoped. For years, Earth scientists had studied old alien technology they had found on Mars and other planets. They couldn't match the aliens in pure power, but they had created something new. Shields that got stronger each time they were hit, as they learned about the enemy weapons. Carter allowed himself a small smile. Now it's our turn. All ships prepare to return fire. On the Xanthari ship, Krazathul couldn't believe what he was seeing. His best weapons had barely scratched the human shields. Impossible, he said. No new race has shields that can stand. Against our weapons, sir, said his sensor officer. The human ships are moving again. They are spreading out. As he spoke, the 8 human ships broke their formation. Instead of staying together, they moved in different directions, making it hard to target them all at once. They are powering up their weapons, said the sensor. Officer Krazathul felt something he had not felt in a long time. Worry. These humans were not following the usual pattern of new races. They were doing something different. Target the nearest ship and fire again, he ordered. But before his weapons could fire, the human ships attacked first. Blue energy beams shot out from all 8 ships at once, hitting the Xanthari vessels from different angles. The Xanthari command ship shook. Krazathul had to hold onto his chair to stay standing. Damage report, he shouted. Shields at 70%, said his officer. How is this possible? Their weapons should not be this strong. Krazathul didn't have an answer. For the first time in his long career, he faced an enemy that didn't follow the rules he understood. In the darkness of space, the battle between humans and the Xanthari Empire had just begun, and it was already not going as the Empire had planned. The Empire's first battle with humans ended in a sudden retreat. Part 2, the space battle, had been going on for 20 minutes. The Defiant shook again as another alien weapon hit its shields. Admiral Carter held onto his chair. Shield status? He asked. Linda Garcia checked her screen. Shields at 85%, sir. They are still holding strong. Carter nodded. The human ships were taking hits, but their special shields were working better than anyone had hoped. Each time the aliens fired, the shields learned more about the enemy weapons. On the main screen, Carter could see the 5 Xanthari ships. They were big and shaped like arrowheads. Their green weapons fire lit up the darkness of space. It's time to show them what we can really do, Carter said. He pressed a button on his chair. All ships, begin Operation Wildcard. Jack Wilson looked at him. Are we sure the wildcard plan will work, sir? We've never tried it in real battle. Carter nodded. We have to try, it's our best chance. Across the human fleet, captains received the order and began to act. The USS Liberty under Captain Peter Brown was the first to make its move. Full power to engines, Peter told his crew. Let's show these aliens something they've never seen before. The Liberty suddenly shot forward at an amazing speed, moving straight toward the nearest Xanthari ship. Then, just before it would hit, the human ship seemed to blink out of existence. On the Xanthari command ship, Krazathul's 4 eyes widened. Where did it go? He demanded. Find that ship. His sensor officer looked confused. It's behind us now, Commander. I don't understand how it moved so fast. The Liberty had used its new quantum drive, a human invention that let ships make very short jumps through space. It wasn't as powerful as the main faster-than-light drives that carried ships between stars, but it was perfect for battle. Before the Xanthari could turn their weapons, the Liberty fired at the back of their ship, where the shields were weakest. Blue energy hit the alien ship, cutting deep into its armor. "Damage on decks 3 through 7, shouted a Xanthari officer. "We've lost weapons on the port side." Krazathul couldn't believe what was happening. In 600 years of battles, he had never seen a ship move like that. Meanwhile, another human ship, the USS Courage under Captain Olivia Martinez, began its own attack. "Deploy the Mirage drones," Olivia ordered. From the ship's sides, small objects shot out into space. They were about the size of a car, much smaller than a real ship, but each one carried something special, a hologram projector. Suddenly, the Xanthari sensors showed not one human ship, but 20 copies of the Courage, all moving in different directions. "This can't be right," said the Xanthari sensor officer. "One ship can't become 20. Krazathul stared at his screen. The human ships were breaking all the rules of space battle that he knew. They were using tricks and strange technology that the Empire had never seen before. On the Defiant, Carter watched as the plan worked. The Xanthari ships were firing at empty space, chasing fake ships or trying to track the ones using quantum jumps. "Sir," said Susan Miller, "the third Xanthari ship is turning away. I think they're trying to retreat." Carter nodded. "Good. That means they're confused." He turned to Frank Lee. "Target their engines. Don't let them escape." The Defiant fired, its blue beams hitting the running Xanthari ship's engines. The alien ship slowed, then stopped moving. But the battle was far from over. The two biggest Xanthari ships, including Krazathul's command ship, were still fighting hard. Their green weapons fire was getting stronger as they put more power into their attacks. A direct hit rocked the Defiant, throwing crew members to the floor. Lights flickered and smoke filled part of the bridge. "Damage report," Carter called out. Linda's voice came through the smoke. "Shields down to 60%, sir. We took some damage on the lower decks." Jack Wilson helped a fallen crew member back to her station. "Sir, we need to try something else. They're learning too." Carter knew he was right. The Xanthari were smart enemies. They were starting to figure out the human tricks. "All ships," he said into his comm, "begin Phase 2 of Operation Wildcard." Across the human fleet, a new kind of attack began. The USS Determination, under Captain Steve Rogers, moved close to the second-largest Xanthari ship. "Deploy electronic warfare package," Steve ordered. Small drones shot out from the Determination. Instead of weapons, these carried powerful computers and transmitters. They attached themselves to the hull of the Xanthari ship and began to send signals into its systems. On that Xanthari ship, strange things started to happen. Lights went out. Doors opened and closed on their own. Weapon systems shut down, then came back on, then shut down again. "We're being hacked," shouted a Xanthari officer. "Something is in our computer systems." This was another human advantage. For years, Earth had faced computer attacks from other humans. They had learned to defend against them, but also how to create them. The aliens had never needed to develop such strong computer security. Meanwhile, the Defiant was moving toward Krazathul's command ship. This would be the most important part of the battle. "They're charging their main weapon," Susan reported. "It's the biggest energy reading I've seen yet." Carter nodded. "All power to forward shields." He looked at his weapons officer. "Frank, target their weapon ports. Fire everything we have." The two ships fired at the same time. Green and blue energy beams crossed in space. The Defiant shook harder than ever before as the Xanthari's most powerful weapon hit it. "Shields at 40%, Linda called out. "One more hit like that and they'll be gone." But the Defiant's shots had hit their target too. On the Xanthari command ship, one of their main weapon ports exploded, sending fire and debris into space. Krazathul was thrown from his chair. When he got up, he saw that half of his bridge crew were hurt or dead. Screens were broken, and warning sounds filled the air. "Status report," he demanded. His second-in-command, bleeding from a cut on his face, checked a working screen. "Main weapons offline. Shields at 30%. 2 of our support ships are disabled, and the third is under electronic attack." For the first time in his long life, Krazathul felt real fear. These humans were like no enemy the Empire had ever faced. They didn't fight with just strength and power. They used tricks, strange technology, and attacks that couldn't be seen. He made a decision that no Imperial commander had made in 500 years. "Send the signal to all ships," he ordered. "We are retreating." His officer looked shocked. "Retreating? But Commander, the Empire never—" "Do it now," Krazathul shouted, "before we lose everything." As the retreat signal went out, the remaining Xanthari ships began to turn away from Earth. The battle was not over, but its direction had changed. For the first time, the great Xanthari Empire was running away. The Empire's first battle with humans ended in a sudden retreat. Part 3, Admiral. Carter watched as the Xanthari ships turned away from Earth. Their green engine lights grew smaller as they fled into deep space. "Are they really leaving?" asked Jack Wilson. He could hardly believe it. Carter nodded slowly. "For now, but they'll be back." The bridge crew of the Defiant began to cheer. They had faced the alien empire and won their first battle. It was a moment that would go down in human history. Carter raised his hand and the cheering stopped. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We need to get our ships fixed and prepare for what comes next." He turned to Linda Garcia. "What's our damage?" Linda checked her screens. "Shields are already starting to rebuild themselves. 2 decks have damage from when that big hit got through. 3 crew members hurt, but no one dead." Carter nodded. That was better than he had expected. He looked at the main screen, where he could see the other human ships. Some had taken more damage than the Defiant, but all 7 were still flying. The USS Liberty had a large burn mark on its side, and the USS Courage was moving slowly, but they had survived. "Send a message to all ships," he said to Alan Ross. "Good job, everyone. Return to Earth orbit for repairs, and tell Earth we won." Alan sent the message. Susan Miller spoke up. "Sir, I'm picking up something strange. One of the Xanthari ships didn't leave with the others. It's just sitting there." Carter looked at the screen where Susan was pointing. A small Xanthari ship, about half the size of the Defiant, was floating in space. It wasn't moving and had no lights on. "Is it a trap?" Jack asked. Carter thought for a moment. "Maybe. But it might also be a ship that was too damaged to follow the others." He made a decision. "Let's check it out. Approach slowly, shields at full." The Defiant moved carefully toward the silent alien ship. As they got closer, they could see that it had taken heavy damage. There was a large hole in its side, and pieces of metal were floating around it. "Life signs?" Carter asked. Susan checked her sensors. "Yes, sir, but not many. I think most of the crew is dead." Carter nodded. This was a chance to learn more about their enemy. "Prepare a boarding team. Full space suits and weapons ready. I want to know what's on that ship." 20 minutes later, 6 humans in white spacesuits floated through the hole in the side of the Xanthari ship. Leading them was Commander Mary Jones, the Defiant's security chief. She was tough and smart, with short black hair and dark eyes that missed nothing. "Stay alert," she told her team through their helmet radios. "We don't know what we'll find in here." The inside of the alien ship was dark and strange. The walls were a dull green color, and the doors were shaped like 6-sided stars. The artificial gravity wasn't working, so the humans had to use the small jets on their suits to move around. "Life signs are this way," said Tim Davis, looking at a small screen on his arm. He was the team's medical officer. They followed him down a long hallway until they reached a large door. It was partly open, but not enough for them to get through. "Help me with this," Mary said. She and 2 others pushed against the door until it opened all the way. Inside was what looked like the ship's control room. It was bigger than the bridge of the Defiant, with many screens and control panels. Most were dark now. Floating in the middle of the room were 3 Xanthari. The aliens looked even stranger up close. They had gray skin and 4 eyes set in a wide face. Their arms were longer than human arms, and they had 6 fingers on each hand. They wore black uniforms with silver symbols that probably showed their rank. Two of the aliens were clearly dead, their bodies cold and still. But the third was moving slightly. It was hurt, with a deep cut on its side that leaked purple blood. "It's alive," Tim said, moving closer with his medical scanner. But barely. The alien saw them and tried to reach for something at its side, probably a weapon, but it was too weak. Mary pointed her gun at it. "Don't move," she said, even though she knew it probably couldn't understand her. Tim moved forward. "I think I can help it," he said. "The biology is different from ours, but some things are the same." Mary hesitated. This was an enemy that had just tried to destroy Earth. But she nodded. Humans didn't leave the hurt to die, even if they were enemies. Tim opened his medical kit and began to work on the alien. He stopped the bleeding and gave it some medicine for pain. The alien watched him with all four eyes, looking confused. While Tim worked, the other humans explored the bridge. One of them, Ben White, was a computer expert. He found a control panel that still had power. "Commander," he called to Mary, "I think this is their main computer. It's still working." Mary floated over to him. "Can you get any information from it?" Ben studied the alien symbols on the screen. "Maybe. Our AI might be able to translate it." He took out a small device and connected it to the alien computer. "This will copy what's in their memory banks." After a few minutes, the device beeped. "Got it," Ben said. "We'll need to study it back on the Defiant, but I think we just got a lot of information about the Xanthari Empire." Meanwhile, Tim had finished treating the injured alien. It was still weak, but no longer in danger of dying. "What should we do with it?" Tim asked Mary. Mary thought for a moment. Taking a prisoner would be complicated, but leaving it here alone would mean it would die when the ship's air ran out. She touched her radio. "Admiral, we have a situation. One living Xanthari, and we've downloaded their computer. Request instructions." Back on the Defiant, Carter considered the options. Having a live Xanthari could be very valuable. They could learn about the aliens, maybe even communicate with them. "Bring it back," he said. "Full security and straight to the medical bay." An hour later, the boarding team returned to the Defiant with their prisoner and the computer data. The injured Xanthari was placed in a special room in the medical bay, with guards outside the door. When it was stable, Carter went to see it. The alien was lying on a bed, with tubes connected to its arm giving it fluids. Its four eyes followed Carter as he entered the room. Carter looked at the alien for a long time. This was the enemy that had tried to conquer Earth. But now it was just an injured being, far from home. "Can it understand us?" he asked Dr. Helen Ward, the ship's chief medical officer. Helen shook her head. "Not yet, but we're working on a translation program." Carter nodded. "Let me know when we can talk to it. I want to know why they attacked us and what we can expect next." As he left the medical bay, he met Jack Wilson in the hallway. "The techs are starting to analyze the data from the alien computer," Jack said. "It will take time, but they say there's a lot there. Star maps, ship designs, maybe even information about the Empire itself." Carter nodded. "Good. We need every advantage we can get." He looked out a nearby window at Earth, blue and peaceful below them. "Because this isn't over. Not by a long shot." And he was right. Across the stars, Fleet Commander Krazathul was preparing his report for the Xanthari High Command. For the first time in 500 years, an Imperial fleet had retreated from battle. The humans had proven to be unlike any enemy they had faced before, and the Empire would not forget that. The Empire's first battle with humans ended in a sudden retreat. Part 4, 3 days had passed since the battle with the Xanthari ships. The Defiant and the other human ships were back in Earth orbit getting repairs. On Earth, people were both happy and scared. They had won the first battle, but everyone knew more aliens would come. In a large room deep inside the United Earth Defense Building in New York, Admiral Carter stood before the World Council. These were the leaders who spoke for all humans. There were 12 of them, men and women from different parts of Earth. They all looked worried. "Tell us more about these aliens," said Maria Lopez, the head of the council. "Why did they attack us? What do they want?" Carter touched a button, and a picture of the Xanthari prisoner appeared on the big screen. It was sitting up now in its bed, looking better than when they had found it. "This is our prisoner," Carter said. "We've learned that it's called Krelvac. It's a low-ranking officer in the Xanthari fleet. Can it talk to us?" asked another council member. Carter nodded. "Our computers have started to translate their language. It's not perfect yet, but we can understand most of what it says." He touched another button and a video started playing. It showed the alien in its room talking to Dr. Helen Ward. "Why did your ships attack us?" Helen asked in the video. The alien's voice was strange, like stones rubbing together. The computer changed its words to English. "The Empire conquers all new races," it said. "This is how it has always been." "But why?" Helen asked. The alien seemed confused by the question. "Because they are weaker. The strong rule the weak. This is the way of the universe." Carter stopped the video. "We've learned a lot from these talks. The Xanthari Empire has been conquering other races for thousands of years. They don't even think about whether it's right or wrong anymore. To them, it's just what happens when a stronger group meets a weaker one." The council members looked at each other. "How big is this empire?" asked James Chen, another council member. Carter touched the button again and a star map appeared on the screen. It showed thousands of stars with a large area colored in red. "This is what we've learned from the data we took from their ship," Carter said. "The red area is the Xanthari Empire. It covers over 2,000 star systems and 50 different alien races that they've conquered." The room was quiet as everyone looked at the map. Earth was just a tiny dot at the edge of the red area. "We're so small compared to them," someone finally said. Carter nodded. "Yes, but we've also learned something important. The ships that attacked us were just a small force, sent to see how strong we are. They expected us to surrender right away like most races do." Maria Lopez leaned forward. "So what happens now?" "They'll send more ships," Carter said. "But not right away. First, they have to report back to their leaders and make a new plan. That gives us some time." "How much time?" James Chen asked. "Maybe a few months," Carter said. "Their nearest big base is several light years away." The council talked for a long time about what to do next. Some wanted to try to make peace with the Xanthari. Others said that wasn't possible with an empire that only understood power. In the end, they agreed on one thing. Earth needed to get ready for a bigger fight. "We need more ships, better weapons," Maria said. "We need to use what we've learned about them." Carter nodded. "I agree. And there's something else. We should talk to the prisoner more. Learn everything we can about how they think, how they fight." Back on the Defiant, the Xanthari prisoner was getting stronger each day. Helen Ward spent many hours talking to it, learning about its people. "Your weapons were different," Krelvac said during one talk. "Why did your shields get stronger when we hit them? Why did your ships disappear and then show up somewhere else?" Helen smiled. "Humans have always had to find clever ways to fight. We've been fighting each other for thousands of years, so we've learned a lot of tricks." The alien seemed confused by this. "You fight your own kind? Why?" "It's complicated," Helen said, "but we've learned from it. When you're not as strong as your enemy, you have to be smarter." In another part of the ship, Ben White and a team of computer experts were studying the data they had taken from the Xanthari ship. They had found a lot of useful information: maps of the Empire, details about their ships and weapons, and the locations of their bases. "Look at this," Ben said to Jack Wilson, who had come to check on their progress. He pointed to a part of the star map. "There are other races here at the edge of the Empire who still fight against them. They haven't been fully conquered yet." Jack looked closely at the map. "So we might have some allies out there?" Ben nodded. "Maybe, if we can find a way to contact them." Meanwhile, on a planet far from Earth, Fleet Commander Kraz Thul stood before the Xanthari High Command. These were the oldest and most powerful leaders of the Empire. They sat in a half-circle looking down at him from high seats. The room was dark, with only the leaders' faces lit up. "You retreated," said the oldest leader, his voice cold. "No Imperial fleet has retreated in 500 years. Kraz Thul bowed his head. "Yes, High One, I take full responsibility." Tell us about these humans, said another leader. What makes them different from the other races we have conquered? Krasthul thought carefully before answering. They don't fight like others, High Ones. They use tricks and strange technology. Their shields learn from our weapons. Their ships can make small jumps through space. They attack our computer systems. Are they stronger than us? Asked the first leader. No, High One, Krasthul said. But they are unpredictable. They don't follow the normal rules of space battle. The leaders talked among themselves for a while. Finally, the oldest one spoke again. We will send a full battle fleet to deal with these humans, he said. 10 times the size of your force. You will lead it, Fleet Commander. You will get a chance to fix your mistake. Krasthul bowed. Thank you, High One. When do we leave? The ships are being prepared now. You will leave in 20 days. Back on Earth, humans were working day and night to get ready. Factories that normally made cars or computers were now making parts for spaceships and weapons. Scientists were studying the Xanthari technology, looking for weaknesses. Military leaders from all parts of Earth were making plans together. They didn't know exactly when the Xanthari would return, but they knew one thing for sure. Next time, the aliens would come with a much bigger force, and humans would need every trick, every clever idea, and every bit of courage they had to survive. The Empire's first battle with humans ended in a sudden retreat. Part 5, 2 months passed. Earth changed in that time. People who used to fight each other now worked together. Countries shared their best technology and brightest minds. Everyone knew that the future of all humans depended on what happened next. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the Defiant, but it looked different now. New screens showed better pictures of space around them. New control panels had more buttons and lights. The ship had been made stronger and faster. Status report, Carter said. Jack Wilson, now wearing a new uniform with extra stripes showing. His promotion, looked up from his screen. All ships report ready, Admiral. The new weapons are online and the shields are at full power. Carter nodded. Earth now had 20 ships instead of 8. Some were old ones that had been improved, like the Defiant. Others were completely new, built in the last 2 months. It was amazing what humans could do when they worked together. But would it be enough? Susan Miller spoke up from her station. Sir, I'm picking up something at the edge of our solar system. Many ships coming out of faster-than-light travel. Carter took a deep breath. Show me. The main screen changed to show the outer part of the solar system, past the planet Neptune. Small dots of light were appearing there. First 10, then 20, then 50. How many? Carter asked. I count 63 ships, sir, Susan said. Much more than last time. Carter nodded. This was what they had expected. The Xanthari were back, and with a much bigger fleet. Send the signal to Earth, he said. All forces to battle stations. Across space on the biggest Xanthari ship, Fleet Commander Krasthul watched the human solar system grow larger on his screen. He had a new scar on his face from the last battle, and his eyes were hard. Are the humans moving to meet us? He asked his sensor officer. Yes, Commander. They have more ships now, about 20. But they are still far fewer than ours. Krasthul nodded. The High Command had given him a full battle fleet this time. 63 ships with the Empire's best weapons. It was enough to conquer most races easily, but he had learned not to underestimate these humans. All ships prepare for battle, he ordered, but be ready for their tricks. Watch for small jumps through space. Be careful of their electronic attacks. As the human and Xanthari fleets moved toward each other, something unexpected happened. A new ship appeared near the humans. It was unlike any ship Carter had seen before. It was long and thin, with blue lights along its sides. Unknown ship approaching. Sir, Susan said. But it's not Xanthari, Carter frowned. Another alien race. Now, the communication system beeped. Alan Ross looked surprised. Sir, we're getting a message from the new ship in English. Put it on screen, Carter said. The main screen changed to show an alien face. It was not Xanthari. This alien had blue, skin and 3 eyes in a triangle pattern. It looked more friendly somehow. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. "I am Captain Zrel of the Alliance of Free Worlds. We have been watching you since your battle with the Xanthari. We have come to help." Carter was surprised, but recovered quickly. "We appreciate the offer, Captain Zrel. But who exactly are you?" The alien smiled. At least Carter thought it was a smile. "We are races who have resisted the Empire for many years. We fight to stay free from their control. We have been looking for allies, and you have shown great promise." This matched what Ben White had found in the Xanthari data about other races that still fought the Empire. But Carter was careful. "This could be a trick. How do we know we can trust you?" he asked. "You don't," Zrel said. "But look behind me." The view on the screen changed to show more ships appearing. Not just one or two, but dozens. They were all different shapes and sizes, clearly from different alien races. "The Alliance has brought 50 ships to fight beside you," Zrel said. "We have studied the Xanthari for centuries. We know their weaknesses." Carter looked at Jack Wilson, who nodded. This could change everything. "We welcome your help, Captain Zrel," Carter said. "Let's talk quickly about how we can work together." Next hour was busy as the humans and the Alliance shared information and made plans. The Alliance ships had technology humans had never seen before. They also knew things about the Xanthari that humans hadn't learned yet. Meanwhile, Krazathul watched with growing concern as more alien ships appeared near Earth. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Who are these ships?" His officers worked quickly to identify them. "Commander, they appear to be Alliance ships, but there are so many of them. The report said the Alliance was weak in this sector." Krazathul's four eyes widened. The Alliance of Free Worlds was a constant problem for the Empire, but they usually didn't have many ships in one place. Somehow they had brought a large fleet here, and now they were joining with the humans. It was time for the battle to begin. The human and Alliance ships moved together toward the Xanthari fleet. Carter felt strange giving orders alongside alien captains, but they worked well together. The Alliance knew how to fight the Xanthari, and humans brought new ideas the Xanthari hadn't seen before. The space between the planets Neptune and Uranus became filled with energy beams and explosions. Ships from all three sides moved quickly, firing weapons and taking hits. On the Defiant, Carter watched as the battle unfolded. The plan was working. Alliance ships used special weapons that could get through Xanthari shields. Human ships used their quantum jumps to appear behind enemy ships and fire at weak spots. "Sir, the Xanthari ships are having trouble," Susan reported. "Their formation is breaking." Carter nodded. The combined human and Alliance fleet was confusing the Xanthari. They were used to fighting one enemy at a time, with known tactics. But humans and the Alliance together were too unpredictable. On his ship, Krazathul saw the battle turning against him. 10 of his ships were already badly damaged or destroyed. The humans were using their strange tactics again, and the Alliance knew too many of the Empire's weaknesses. "We can't win this battle," his second-in-command said quietly. "Not today." Krazathul wanted to argue, but he knew it was true. Even with 63 ships, they were losing. The Empire would need to rethink its whole approach to this part of space. "Sound the retreat," he ordered for the second time in his long career. All ships returned to base. As the Xanthari ships turned and fled, cheers rang out across the human and Alliance fleet. It wasn't a final victory, but it was an important one. Later, on the Defiant, Carter met with Captain Zrel and other Alliance leaders. They talked about the future, about working together to keep the Empire away from Earth and other free worlds. "This is just the beginning," Zrel said. "The Empire will be back with an even larger force, but together, we have a chance." Carter looked out at the stars. Humanity had gone from being alone in the universe to fighting for survival, to finding new allies, all in just a few months. "Together," he agreed, shaking Zrel's three-fingered hand. The Empire's first battle with humans ended in retreat. "Let's make sure their next battles end the same way." And across the stars the news began to spread. The mighty Xanthari Empire had been forced to retreat not once but twice. A new power was rising, a partnership of humans and the Alliance. The universe was changing, and the age of the Empire's easy conquest was coming to an end.